Hey everyone, Lisa Salvatore here. Hope everyone is doing well and taking really good care of themselves as we cruise on to the end of the year. I cannot believe that we're almost at the end of December. Today is December 10th that I'm recording this video. We are in the middle of a portal of intense energy that can feel extremely fast, but yet there's a positivity attached to this. And there's one thing that's constant right now, and that is change. Collectively, yes, of course, but more personally as well. And I'm going to specifically focus on this solar eclipse, the total solar eclipse, new moon in Sagittarius that we are building up towards on December 14th. But first I want to mention that since we've had the last eclipse, the lunar eclipse in Gemini on November 30th, the energy has been like just really rocking and rolling and cruising ahead. So be mindful of that. Take time to honor your body and its needs. If you need to rest, rest. If you need to take a nap, take a nap. If you need to eat specific foods, do that. Don't be so hard on yourself right now, guys, because the energy is intense, okay? Before we get into all of that, I first just want to say thank you to all of you for your love and support. It means the world to me. I have been having a kind of difficult past couple of months on the personal side, but everything's okay. But it's just really nice when I get beautiful emails from you or really nice testimonials, supportive words. It just helps a lot. So thank you for that. Many of you have written into me asking about gift certificates. I do offer them. You can click on my links below, lisasalvatore.com, and click on schedule a session, and the menu pops up. You will see gift certificates there. You can go ahead and pick out whichever option that you'd like. That's the first thing. Second thing, my tarot course, my intuitive tarot course is set to go live in February. I am super duper excited about this. I have not put out the sign up information yet, but it is I'm just tweaking some last minute pieces of it, but it's ready to go. These classes will be over a 4 to 6 week time span, once per week, live. They're interactive. If you cannot make a class, that's not a problem, as they will be recorded for you. And in between, I will pepper in some pop-up Q&As, which we'll decide as a group once we get going with the course, for questions, okay? This is going to be a lot of fun. I've taught courses in the past where people have really enjoyed them. You not only will learn the tarot and the mythology behind it, you'll also learn a little bit about the numerology. We'll learn about astrology and the elements as they pertain to the cards. We'll go through the whole entire deck, top to bottom, from the Fool all the way down. It's going to be awesome. And it's not going to be pressure. There's going to be no pressure. I don't grade you. There's no certification at the end of it. This is simply just to help you to tap into your intuitive awareness through the art of reading tarot, okay? Now, can I promise you that you're going to be a world-renowned psychic tarot card reader after my course? No. But what I can promise you is that you will learn a heck of a lot about it, and have fun while you're doing it. And also, you will be able to expand your intuitive awareness and abilities much more if that's something that you're looking for, because I do go into how to prepare for readings, how to give them, how to be in the right mind frame, in the right space, and how to get the best and most out of them, whether you're reading for yourself or for others or both, or whether you're a novice or a newbie. This class is really geared for anybody that has an interest, okay? So if that is something that you're interested in, please make sure that you sign up for my newsletter. I only send out about 2 a month, so you're not going to get spammed. But that way you'll know, and you'll get the codes and all to sign up. That's for that. I'm also going to be putting out, again, because of emails I've been receiving about people asking for guidance and help and advice on their spiritual path and ascension and spiritual awakening. For those of you that have an interest in more conscious conversation surrounding those topics, I will also be putting something together in the new year for a group. So again, if that's something of interest, make sure you sign up for my newsletter. You also get a free guided chakra meditation when you do that, and you can unsubscribe at any time. All right, I think that's it for my announcements, and now I'm going to talk about this beautiful solar eclipse that is taking place as we get to Monday, December the 14th. So this solar eclipse is at 23 degrees of Sagittarius. It is a south node eclipse, new moon. It's a new moon and it's a south node eclipse. The lunar eclipse, full moon that we had on November 30th was a full moon north node eclipse, okay? So it was very connected to the future and growth and where we want to go, okay? And what we need to release, because full moons are all about release, what we need to release to get that growth. This is going to feel different for everybody. Collectively, we all experience it, but personally, it's going to feel different. And it's important to mention that eclipse energy is not immediate. It is something that can sometimes be very subtle because these are destined portals of time, of energy. So it can be subtle changes that tend to amplify throughout the eclipse cycle. So I would invite you to go back to June 5th of this year when we had our first eclipse in Gemini, okay? Go back to that and go back to that time and think about where you were at and what entrances or exits were in your life at that time, whether it even just be a habit or such. It doesn't have to be a big thing, but that can kind of give you an idea of the theme of this eclipse cycle for you personally, of where you're going and where you're headed and what you're working on or what you're working through, right? So now we are leading up to this solar eclipse in Sagittarius at 23 degrees of Sag, connected to the south node. The south node is all about the past and about release, but yet it's a new moon, which is all about the new and bringing in what it is that we want. So you want to look back to this last eclipse and connect to what it is that you were implementing for yourself to release and how that works towards bringing in what it is that you are desiring to bring in for yourself going forward, okay? As we move on into 2021 and 2022 even, how that will manifest for you, right, is based on the work that you do, right, for growth. Okay, so this new moon solar eclipse sits at 23 degrees of Sagittarius. It sits very close to the galactic center, which is a point of destiny that's at about 27 degrees of Sagittarius. So this moon, this eclipse hovers very closely. And so what that basically means is that galactic activations can be very present and very felt, especially if you're a very sensitive being, which most of us are. So what that means is it can actually produce physical symptoms in the body. So again, going back to what I said initially, just take very good care of the body and give it what it needs at this time. Go easy on yourself, okay? So this, the most prominent, most significant aspect to this new moon is that Mercury, the planet of communication, the planet of our thinking, the messenger of the gods, is in a helpful aspect to this moon. It is conjunct at almost the exact degree. And so what Mercury does for us is he gives clarity. When he's sitting in a nice aspect like this, it brings in clarity. It brings in awareness from a higher source, from our divinity, from our higher self. Because Mercury himself, as Hermes in Greek mythology, which is the messenger of the gods, was able to travel between the three worlds of the conscious, the superconscious, and the unconscious to bring forth information, to acquire and decipher and then disseminate knowledge. That's what Mercury does. And so when it's in a helpful aspect like this to an intuitive time and such a significant time, such as a south node eclipse, new moon, there's lots available to us if we're willing to tune in and listen to the inner compass, that inner GPS. It is going to be strong right now. Strong. That's all I'm going to say. Especially sitting so close to the galactic center, lots of psychic experiences typically take place around times like these, and you may brush them off and not think anything of them, but this would be the time I would tell you more than ever to please think something of them, because we are in a crazy energetic portal. Again, I'm going to stress that. So you may want to light your white candles and do protection rituals around this time as well if you're very open spiritually, okay? And you'll know if this feels good to you. If it resonates, you'll know what to do, right? So yeah, so Mars and Mercury will also be in a supportive trine, and Mars is also being extremely helpful right now because Mars is making a supportive aspect to both the sun and the moon at the time of this eclipse, and Mars is back in Aries. It has been direct since to the end of November. Mars is now moving forward in its home sign of Aries, all cozy like the warrior that he is, and he wants us to act, and he wants us to move forward, and he wants us to implement all that we've learned and really do something with all of this knowledge. So again, helpful and supportive. Use the initiative of Mars, because Mars is in Aries, the moon is in Sag, and these are fire signs. So fire is action and heat, and it wants us to move. So even if you're someone who's normally lethargic and lacks the motivation, this could be a time of great initiative. So don't waste it, I guess I would say, especially if you feel it. Really don't. Really try not to. As we go into the 15th, the day after this new moon eclipse, On the 15th, Venus will switch signs. Venus will go from Scorpio into Sagittarius. Now, why that's significant is because when Venus is in Scorpio, you know, Venus is what we love. It's how we love. It's our relationship both to ourselves, to others, and to our money, to our finances. And so when Venus is in Scorpio, Scorpio is the underworld, and Venus doesn't really like to be there because it's very probing and intense, and it brings a lot up that we may not always want to look at, right? Or that we may not be comfortable expressing or talking about. However, when Venus goes into Sagittarius, it becomes much more honest and truthful. And it's like this feeling of, oh, now I can say what it is that I need to say. I feel more confident about this. And at the same time, with all these supportive aspects around this new moon, even more so that's highlighted. So again, there's this emphasis on positive communication, loving communication within our relationships, as long as we're thinking things through. Because remember, Mercury is gifting us this awareness, but we have to use it wisely. Because remember, whatever the mind believes, it achieves, right? So we have to be very mindful, because instant manifestation at times like these is also very paramount. So it's like, you know, we're, like I keep saying, it's an energetic destined portal of time, okay? Where we're at right now. And so you can think something and it can literally manifest. It may not happen for everybody, and it may not happen all the time, but it's quite possible right now. If that is going to happen, it will happen. Sorry, my voice is going. So there's a sense of harmony attached to this time, especially when it comes to our relationships, especially if things have felt a little heavy. There could be this little snippet of lighthearted fun here in the mix, despite what's going on in the world. In your personal life, you could be feeling like the need to be more loving, be more open, be more expressive. And you could be given back a gift or a reward or an award, however you want to say it, karmically for doing so. The same day that Venus moves into Sagittarius on the 15th, Chiron in Aries will also station direct. Chiron has been retrograde for the past 5 months, and Chiron is all about healing, how we heal our wounds, how we lick our wounds, our identity wounds, where we get down on ourselves, where we feel like we want to change what we don't like about ourselves. And now that Chiron is going direct and it's making a nice supportive trine, Venus is making a nice supportive trine at the time of this, there's going to be a feeling of, again, deep and profound healing that can take place. Both, it could be just within yourself, or it could be within yourself and then with others. But either way, if you're really working and you're healing and you're dealing and you're feeling, things are going to get better in whatever way they need to for you. You can be sure of that. And then as we move on towards the 17th, Saturn is going to switch signs. And Saturn has been in Capricorn for the last 2.5 years. And so it is kind of a big deal when Saturn switches signs. And Saturn is going to move into Aquarius, okay? And Aquarius is a sign of freedom and forward thinking. But Saturn is the planet of restriction and limitations. However, Saturn does not want to restrict our freedom, although it sure seems like that right now sometimes, doesn't it? Saturn doesn't necessarily want to restrict our freedom, but it has to. In order to get us to the gold, it has to give us restrictions. But Aquarius wants to be free. So we're going to see this 2.5-year time span of Saturn being in Aquarius, a time of fresh, refreshed, forward thinking. We are entering the age of Aquarius, so things are going to change. They're primed to, they have to, actually. And I think all of us are ready for change. But the beautiful thing about Saturn in Aquarius, so Saturn rules Capricorn, okay? But Saturn is also the traditional ruler of Aquarius. So even though the modern day ruler of Aquarius is Uranus, the traditional ruler of Aquarius is Saturn. So again, it's a familiar energy, and I don't really feel like it's going to be that difficult. And remember, Aquarius is about the group. The sign of Aquarius rules group consciousness. So people, we the people, are not going to be as content or as easily herded like sheeple. I'm going to just say that. So there will be this element of group awareness, group consciousness, coming together, forming alliances for the greater good, for the future, okay? And then Jupiter is then going to follow suit and move into Aquarius on December the 19th. And they are getting ready to make that 0-degree great conjunction in Aquarius that you've probably been hearing talked about quite a bit. And it's going to be right at the time of the winter solstice on the 21st. And that is the dawn of a new era, okay? That is like a clean slate. There's a lot that can be said to take place at this time, and as we move on into 2021 and 2022, lots of change, lots of newness. Jupiter and Saturn are the largest planets in our solar system. They're the gas giants. They packed a punch. when they change signs, especially Jupiter, because Jupiter governs the social tone. So it talks about that next year, because Jupiter spends 1 year in each sign, Saturn spends 2.5. But with Jupiter, it talks about the theming of that sign and what it represents. So again, Aquarius is freedom. Anyway, I'm going to come back with more on that great conjunction. That's going to be a whole separate video. But to go back to this new moon energy as we're moving in towards the 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, those days are going to be very intuitively uplifting. There's going to be a lot revealed to you on the personal level if you're paying attention. Remember, Mercury's here supporting us, so be mindful of what you're reading, be mindful of what you're writing, be mindful of what you're speaking. Be sure to drop inward. If you don't meditate, now might be the time to start, because you will be probably getting some crazy psychic insights. And if you are naturally tapped in, which many of us are, it will be even more through the charts, okay? So be mindful of that. Again, instant manifestation, gratification. Remember with Saturn here, when Saturn leaves a sign, the way that it's happening collectively, it tends to bring in with it a gift or a reward for the hard work that's been done. But it's not something where it's like if you've been resting on your laurels, you may not see that. And it could be subtle. So again, you may want to look to your chart. We're going to go into more of that in the next video. I'm going to quickly do a card, 2 cards actually I might do, for this new moon in Sag. Because I do feel like this is a very lucky, auspicious time, and the more work, the more self-analysis that we do, it only serves to benefit us and our future and others. So as long as you're doing your soul work, it does feel like even if you are facing some challenging circumstances or times, things will lift and get better. Everything changes, nothing stays the same. This is something I tell clients when they're going through a tough transit, astrological transit, or just a tough time in general. I always say, but the beautiful thing about energy is it shifts. Grief is grief, pain is pain, but energy shifts, and the levels to which we experience things also shift. I always have to tell myself the same thing, right? Even though I know these things consciously. It's hard when it's yourself, right? All right. So we got adjustments are required. So again, this is basically saying that if there are things along the way up to this point that you're not seeing results with, you're not feeling like it's going the way you want it to, or there's more work that needs to be done, now's the time to fine-tune your plans and to sit with it, with this new moon, and make a list, put in goals, put in, where do you want to be, 2, 3, 4 months from now? What do you want to see going forward? Again, what you plan and implement now will bear fruit. Let's do a tarot card as well. Feel the need to do another one. I wasn't sure which one I was going to use, so I had them both sitting here, and I'll use my tarot also. This will just be for the week of, basically the weekend. So let's look at, we're going to go the 12th through the 17th for this. Knight of Cups. Okay, so that's, emotional gifts coming in, emotional information, emotional, heartfelt this is a heartfelt card. So it's like messages could potentially be coming in. And even if they don't necessarily come to you or manifest as a reality, the intention or the thought is there towards you or from you towards another. So this will be a time of deep, again, I feel like this has to do with the whole Venus moving into Sagittarius and trining Chiron right around this new moon energy, because there's just like this fun-loving, supportive vibe of wanting to be close to those that you love and really wanting to express your truth, express the positivity that you could feel. Sagittarius is a sign about optimism and expansion and growth and seeing things differently from a higher perspective, and also learning how to do things in a different way and being hungry for that knowledge. So again, I do really feel like this upcoming week, the upcoming week as we get towards that great conjunction is really going to feel charged and intuitively connected, both with self and with others. Take really good care of yourselves, guys. I will be back soon with more on the great conjunction and the winter solstice. Bye.